Hello everyone. Now this is going to be our first proper visualization where we discuss the column and the bar chart in a lot of detail. And we don't just make the chart, I will also take you through all the formatting options and the analytics options that we have. Let's get started. This is what we are trying to create, the column and the bar chart that we have here. So let's go to Power BI. I will make a new page. Let's call this our column chart. To start off, I will select my stacked column chart. And in this, we want to put our order date in the x-axis and the sales in the y-axis like this. And maybe we want to go to the quarter level like this. Now let us also make a few formatting changes. All the formatting changes that are available to you are available in the Format Your Visual button. So the first one allows you to add data to the visual, and the second one is the Format Your Visual. There is also a search bar here. So if you already know what option you're searching for, you can search for it. For example, if I want to change the data label size, I can just search for data. Now, there are many options available, and the options differ from chart to chart. So I will not even attempt to cover every single one of them, but I would strongly suggest that you practice everything that I'm teaching you in the video, but don't just do only the ones that I'm teaching. There are many options available. You should definitely spend a lot of time with every single chart, explore a lot, see what are the options available, because that is what will make you a better data analyst. The first thing I want to do is to go to General, and in FX, we would like to add a border and a shadow. And you notice it looks really nice when we do this. If you look at the option for the shadow, there are different options available. You can change the color, decide how the shadow will come. On the border, you can change the color, but you cannot change the thickness or the outline of the border. So let me change it into a slightly different color. And we can also make it a rounded corner like this. So this looks really nice. So you don't have these sharp corners, you have a rounded corner. So remember, the color can be changed, but the outline thickness is not an option. We again go back to Format, and then I also want to select the data labels. So the numbers pop up like this. On the data labels, again, there are a lot of options we have. We can change the orientation from horizontal to vertical, depending on how you want to present the data. Then in values, I can also increase the size, make it bold. If you want to change the color, we can do that as well, like this. I also have the option of adding a background like this. It's a nice shadow effect. Personally, I like it quite a lot. Let's quickly refer to our PowerPoint and see what else we would like to do. Okay. Now, usually when I keep the data label on the chart, I would not like to show the y-axis numbers. Also, the sum of sales is not really required because we know that it is the sum of sales, isn't it? So on Format, we go to the x-axis, and the first thing I do is I will remove the title. So you notice this quarter doesn't appear anymore. We don't really want that. Second, on the y-axis, I will remove the title, and I also want to disable the y-axis completely. So you notice it looks like a much cleaner chart right now, like this. What else can we do? I also have an option for the columns. Now in this, you notice I can select essentially any color that we want, like this. But let's do something slightly better than that. What I would like to do is to go to this FX button, which is for conditional formatting. If any of you have used conditional formatting in Excel, you know that it allows you to put a rule or a condition to color the cells appropriately. Now we can do the same thing in Power BI, but here you can apply a conditional formatting on a visualization as well, something which is not available on Excel. So I click on the FX button. There are three options that we have. we have a gradient, we have a rule, something I'll be covering a little later, and we also have a field value. The field value requires something called DAX, which is Data Analysis Expressions. That is how you build calculations in Power BI. We will only be covering this in section 3. So let's do the first one. We come to our gradient. Now in the gradient, it asks me what field on the basis of which we want to have the color. Now this obviously has to be the sales value, like this. And we can decide the 2 colors we want. So I'm just choosing 2 colors here. No reason for selecting these specific colors. Just generally I'm choosing 2 random colors. And I click on OK. And I notice you get this beautiful effect like this. Even if you expand, you will still be able to get the same effect like this. Now you also have rules available. Let me show you how those work. Let me duplicate the page. Let me first go back to format, and then on columns, we want to click on the remove button so that the present conditional formatting has been removed. We go to FX one more time, and this time we want to apply a rule. And here we say that the rule is on the sum of sales. And if the sum of sales is, let's say, below a certain threshold, let us say the threshold is 750,000. So we say if it is less than, greater than equal to 0 and less than equal to 750,000, then we want to have one color, maybe a gray color. We will create a new rule and we say that if the number is greater than equal to 750,000 and it is less than, we can just put any large number here, then the color is a different color, and OK. Now you notice we get 2 colors as per the line that we have kept. So we know that the values above and below that line are colored differently. When we learn DAX, at that point I will also tell you how to do this dynamically, where you can change the number by using a slider, and as you move the slider up and down, or rather left and right, the colors will change automatically. For now, this is a little manual because every time you will have to go to rules and apply the rule. In this case, I've only kept 2 colors, but you can keep multiple rules as well. Now, would it not be nice to have a horizontal line that also tells me what is that threshold or that reference line that we have kept? For this, I go to Analytics and we have an option called the constant line. So we want to add a line. It's very simple. And the line value here, everyone, is 750,000. And we can also change the color to a black color and then add the data label, right? So this is a very nice way for you to also tell the user on what basis have you created the rule so that you get 2 different colors, the gray and the blue color. Let's duplicate the page. First, I want to remove the analytics. So I'll remove the constant line. And I want to show you something a little different now. Now we have something called the small multiple. Now imagine that you want to show 5 markets. How would you do that? Now if you want to show 5 markets, then either you make 5 charts or you have a filter or a slicer where you can decide which of the markets you want to show, which works perfectly. But there is an alternative. It's called a small multiple. Let's see how that works. First, I want to increase the size of the chart, everyone. All right. Now what we want to do is that in the small multiple option, I will simply drag the market like this. Now you notice that we have 5 markets with us, so it creates 5 charts. Let's also remove the conditional formatting like this. Now you can also decide how many rows and columns you want. For example, if I go to the option which is small multiples, I can say I want 5 rows and maybe only 1 column. So you notice there are a lot of different ways in which you can present the data. Let's also go to data labels and I'm going to turn it off like this. Now one additional option that you have in small multiples is that I can go to my y-axis, and you notice there is an option called shared y-axis. Now the problem is that the scale of the numbers varies a lot, which means in Africa, the numbers are very small. All of them are below 1 lakh. On the other hand, in Europe, the numbers are very large. So you can see the number range as high as 3,86,000. So it is not fair to show all the numbers together because these columns will seem very short. For this, I can remove the shade y-axis, right? And select scale to fit. Let me also enable the y-axis. So now you notice that for every one of these 5 charts for the 5 markets, the y-axis automatically changes. For Africa, it is 0 to 100. Here it is 0 to 500,000, 0 to 400,000, and so on and so forth. This is a very important thing because if you are using the small multiple where the scale changes, if you don't do this, if you don't scale to fit, the chart might not look very readable. But otherwise, it's very easy to do. And you can see the result looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's make one more. I want to call this column 4. And we first want to remove our conditional formatting and the data label as well. I want to show you how the legend works, which is here. So imagine I keep the segment in the legend. You will notice that automatically the same column breaks into 3 colors, which is consumer, corporate, home office. And each of these 3 colors represents which segment we are talking about. Obviously, you can go through the options and also change the colors for each of the 3 segments that you have. The final thing I want to show you is a comparison of a few different charts that are available. So the first one, let me first go back one level. And I want to show you on the PowerPoint what is it that we are trying to create. So I want to create something like this, a comparison of different bar and column charts. So first I'll keep my segment in the legend, and we want to make the very first chart, which is a stacked bar chart. As you can see, it looks like this. Copy and paste, Control C, Control V, and I will change it to a stacked column chart. And let me do this a few more times. So we have our clustered bar. Then we have our clustered column. And then we also have our 100%. Let's just make sure I've selected all of them. So we have the stacked bar, then we have the stacked column, we have the clustered bar, then we have the clustered column, then I have the 100% stacked, and then I have the 100% column. So take some time and think about the fact that it's the same data that we are presenting, but how different it looks. So it really depends upon how you want to present the data and what is more important. For example, if you look at the column chart, the one that I've highlighted, this is very detailed. So you notice there's an individual bar for each of the 3 segments, consumer, corporate, home office. But if I ask you which of the 3 segments is doing the most, or if I ask you which of the years is doing the most, you can't tell me that. By looking at this chart, you can't tell me out of these 4 years, which year is doing the maximum. Think about it. If I ask you 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, which one of the years is the highest? It's a bit of an educated guess, isn't it? But if you look at the stacked column or the stacked bar, the first and the second one, it's very clear which of the years is the highest and by how much. But these are not comparable because 2022, the value for home office cannot be compared to the value the previous year because the year itself was a smaller year. That is the reason we have the 100% chart, because in the 100% chart, you notice we have the ability of seeing the percentage. If you look at this tooltip, the white box, 49.8%, which is the contribution of the consumer segment, has been calculated automatically, which is fantastic. So now I can compare and say that in 2022, 20.12% of my sales came from home office. The previous year, only 17.96% came from the home office. On the other hand, comparing 8,65,000 with 611 is not fair because we don't know how much the other segments have contributed. So it might be a good idea to look at the percentage as well. Now, obviously, there is no correct answer to that. I just wanted to show you how different your same data can be presented, even between a bar and a column chart. We're not even talking about the other type of charts we have, and there are many, many more of them. So this is why you have to focus on quality, not quantity. Don't just jump from one chart to the next one. Try to experiment a lot. Go through every formatting option available because there's a lot available, even in one single chart, before you move on to the next one.